Obviously tough night at the ballpark for us. Didn't do enough. I didn't think on either side of the ball to win, and certainly didn't pitch well enough. We give up 2 ground ball singles in the first, and you look up and we're down 2-0. And proud of our guys for fighting back. And you look up and it's a 4-4 game in the 6th, and we gave up 8 runs. After the 6th inning, gave up 8 2-out RBI. We gave up a 0-2 homer and a 1-2 homer, and just did not execute pitches well enough tonight to beat an SEC team.
Coach, obviously he didn't have the start he wanted, but how big is it having Garrett McMillan back in rotation for you guys?
Well, it's good to have him back. He pitched a lot of good baseball for us last year, but he's got to pitch better. If it's going to be big for us to have him back.
Coach, 6 different pitchers tonight. None seem to shake the Mississippi State hitters up. What do you need to change going into tomorrow?
They're a really good offensive team, and I told the kids that. I think they're very similar to us offensively. If you look at the numbers from extra base hits and batting average and all that, it's a physical lineup. So you got to really execute pitches against them. We haven't. If you look at us out of the bullpen, it's always a balance of you have some guys that have better stuff, but maybe they don't command it as well, or maybe they're young, and then you get some kids that maybe don't throw quite as hard, but they command the ball better. And against Mississippi State, I think they showed you that you better have stuff. We have to do what Arkansas did last week, and we went to Fayetteville and beat them up pretty good the first game of the series, and then they came back and won a hard-fought series. So, I do like who we have available the next 2 days in the bullpen. Some of the guys with more velocity, and I think that's what it's going to take to get them out.
What was the plan coming in for how long Garrett would go tonight? Was there any reason why he just went 1 inning?
Well, we wanted him to go a little longer, but when you're coming off injury and you're building up, throwing 34 pitches in 1 inning is pretty taxing. That's different than throwing 34 pitches in 3 innings, and he, on top of that, just wasn't sharp. So we were hoping to get a little bit more out of him, but hopefully next weekend, his pitch count will be higher and he'll be in the game longer.
Coach, what do you have to say about the team's fight, scoring 3 runs down the final out of the 9th inning, even though it wasn't enough to win the game?
Yeah, our guys keep playing, and we scored in 5 of the 8 innings, which is obviously a real positive, and it's a real even keel group. We preach all the time, just go play, and they did a good job of that. That was beneficial early in the game. We got down 2-0 and tied it up, and then even when we were down big late, they just kept playing. So typically overtime, that's a really positive attribute for a team to have.
What's the emphasis for the bullpen now late in games, now struggling against Arkansas, and now tonight in late game scenarios?
Well, we just got to have some guys step up and make some big pitches, and we've got some arm talent. We have some guys that are throwing the ball well, and a lot of these SEC lineups. You look at the numbers. If you look at our pitching numbers, relative to the conference, we're in the top half of the league, whether it's overall or in league games. So we're doing a lot of good things. There's a lot of double-digit scores around the conference. It's as hard as it's ever been to pitch in college baseball. Typically, every team offensively has a bunch of 22-year-olds that are strong and physical, a lot of experience. The strike zone's as small as it's ever been. The baseball is as hard as it's ever been. So it's a hard time for college pitchers throwing to a small strike zone to get a bunch of older kids out. And that's just college baseball, especially at the highest Power 5 level like the Southeastern Conference. So, your margin for error is slim. You've got to really execute pitches, and, I would like to see us put some guys away. We're getting ahead in the count, and we're going to put them away and give up the 6-run 7th inning. You gave up an 0-2 homer and a 1-2 homer, and you work so hard to get in those advantage counts to swing the percentages in your favor. You got to put them away.
Coach, you mentioned that in your opening statement they had 8 2-out RBIs. As a coach, how do you approach that and try to correct that? Is it like a complacency issue where pitchers let up when they see 2 outs on the scoreboard? How do you address that issue?
Well, I think there's a couple parts to it. Going into the game, they actually had one more walk than strikeouts, which is really impressive, especially when you get to April. I want to compliment them. They do a great job and are a really good offensive team. you know, part of that too, and that's the trade-off as a coach, you know, do you go with the guys that you know are gonna pound the strike zone? Or do you go with a guy that, you know, may walk a guy or two, but can get some more swing and miss? So, you know, the less stuff that you have, the more important it is, you know, your margin for error is slimmer, you know, you gotta really execute. So, you know, it's a combination of all that stuff.
Anything else? All right.
Thanks, Coach.